Welcome back into Chat Sports' coverage of the 2025 NFL Combine. I am Tom Downey. We are about to break down some Day 2 winners and losers from the athletic testing and drills that just went down here in Indy. Before we get into that, if you want some winners and losers tomorrow, where we will be most likely back in the studio after our travel back and still be able to catch the drills and everything there. If you want that tomorrow, have us work extra hours again. Share today's video for me right now on social media. All right, let's dive into the winners. I got 12 in this one. First up is Nick Emmanwori, the safety from South Carolina. Now, if you've been subscribed, when I have done mock drafts, you have seen him consistently in there, and this is why. This man is a freak. Now, I will make note, you'll see some of the U's on these at MathBomb photos. Just means unofficial. The official time for Nick Emmanwori was 4.38. Which is unbelievable speed. It is not the fastest safety, and there were some very fast safeties in general. Dan Crawford tested really well. Andrew Makuba tested well. Other guys we'll get to here a little bit too. 43-inch vert and 11.06 broad, all at 6'3", 220 pounds. This dude is an insane level athlete. He is a prototypical strong safety in the modern day NFL. I am a big fan of his game. I was already putting my first round mocks for a reason. This is not shocking to me because I knew he was a freak athlete, but it is still awesome and fun and exciting to see him put on that type of show. Next up on the winner's side for me, Jahdae Barron, the cornerback out of Texas, who I am also a very big fan of. I know I have not dropped my personal boards yet. Going into the Combine, I had a first round grade on Barron. Now, the size we knew was going to be a slight issue. He's under 5'11". He's only 194 pounds. He does have short arms. It's sub 30-inch arms. There are going to be teams that think of him as a nickel, but there were questions and concerns about what is his true top-end speed. He ran a 4.39 40-yard dash. There were a couple of corners, most of whom we'll mention that ran faster than him, but he silenced any concerns, I think, about top-end speed. He was already going to probably end up being a top 10 guy once I stacked my board. This does nothing but make me feel good about him as a prospect. This is one of my guys who I am super excited for in this class. Now, of these two players, because they have not been consensus first-round picks in mock drafts. They've been left out of plenty of big-name mocks. Who is more likely to go in round one? NE for Nick Emmanwori, JB for Jahdae Barron. Go vote at the pinned comments of today's show, especially if the ad comes here on YouTube. All right, next up is Maxwell Hairston. First off, before we get to the testing, this guy has been my favorite interview here at the NFL Combine. Here's a guy. We'll do that line, right? I want my corners to be a little bit insane. I want them to, like you kind of wonder, okay, are you, fully mentally well? Because you've got unreasonable amounts of confidence and borderline arrogance and swagger to you, and that is Maxwell Hairston. I gave him I talked to him you're going to test. He goes, yeah, get your popcorn ready, he says. I'm going to put on a show. And he delivered in every sense. Coming in at not the greatest size, 5'11", 183. Good vert, good broad, 4.28 official 40-yard dash for Maxwell Hairston. That is the fastest time so far at the NFL Combine, with admittedly some very fast receivers and running backs to come in the not-too-distant future. He has the attitude, interviewing him, that I want out of a corner. I don't know if he goes round one. Maybe he sneaks in the back half. I think there's some room for somebody to emerge in that category. He asked one word to describe himself. He said locksmith, because when he's on an island one-on-one with you, he likes his odds type of deal. I love the attitude. I love the athletic testing. The film in 2023 was better than it was in 2024. But he's got that dog in him, and you got to have that dog in you at corner. And I think Barron does too. All right, Darien Porter, who has had a very interesting path to the NFL, was a former receiver, and he sure looked like he had soft hands in the drills, by the way, too, which isn't a huge surprise. I was very impressed by. One thing I forgot to mention earlier, as of filming, the NFL still has not yet dropped the agility testing. I just double-checked right now. They still don't have it out there. So we're going to have to wait for that. It would lead to some changes in the relative athletic scores. We've got his Twitter L3 at MathBomb to throw up at some point here as well. But Porter tested elite, by the way, too. Look at this, almost 6'3", 195, 33-inch arm. It is an official 4.3 40-yard dash. Those traits, knowing he's still a little raw at corner because he moved over from receiver, but he's got elite level special teams impact. He's going to go on day 2 and probably early. All right, next up is Billy Bowman, the safety from Oklahoma, who I think has been kind of like Danny Stutzman, frankly, a little bit overlooked. Maybe because Oklahoma didn't have the most on-field success this year. I thought his drills were really impressive. I thought he was fluid, smooth, looked really good out there. Also happened to test incredibly well. The official time was actually 4.42. He is not the biggest guy. He has arm length concerns, but as a free safety who I think offers really, really good range, that is very intriguing to me. All right, Malaki Starks, the safety draw. I am putting him on my winners list, and that might be controversial from some based on the reaction I've seen out there. I know the reaction of, oh, Tom, what are you doing? He ran a 4.5 40-yard dash. That's not very slow. Or that's not slow at all. Like, that's actually pretty fast. I get it's not near the level of athlete that Nick Emmanwori is, but we don't have to tear down Starks to build up others. I don't like when we do that about prospects. And there was a really great note from Next Gen Stats that he had the top miles per hour speed in 5 different drills, including the short shuttle. So I'm going to possible hot take this one here and look very stupid, and you can at me on freezing cold takes. I think he's going to test very well in the agility. I think his play speed is fantastic. I would have put the over-under for him at about a 4.5 40. I think his instincts, his quickness, and his overall range works really well as a free safety. I still am very high on Malaki Starks. Today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That could be a combine, PrizePicks slate. Those are available. Basketball, season-long MLB, or season-long baseball, football around the corner as well. Do the flex play. You get one wrong, good news. You still come out on top. So go download that PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS. And use code CLNS to get $50 instantly. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. Let's go to Jacob Parrish, going a little bit heavier on some corners here. That is the Kansas State cornerback, who I've been a fan of going into this. I was hoping Kobe Bryant was going to test a little better. Not to call him a loser, but didn't love it all in the end. Official 40 time of a 4.35. He is fantastic. I think he might end up being a nickel in the NFL. I think both he and Kobe Bryant play a little bit more physical relative to their less than ideal sizes. Fantastic athlete. And then his teammate, a safety, Marques Sigle, put on a show of all the safeties, even Nick Emmanwori. This was the fastest 40-yard dash time. 4.37 is official. 5'11", just over 5'11", just under 200 pounds. Kansas State's got several really intriguing players on defense this year, and offense too, if you want to include DJ Giddens, by the way. So I want to give these guys some love. Other safeties, like other players in general, like I thought Andrew Makuba, Keaton Crawford tested very well from the athletic perspective, which I think sometimes, like the 40-yard dash time, I should say. Crawford also put up like really freaky numbers too in some of his jumps as well. All right, this is kind of crazy, the only tight end on the winners list for me. I don't have anybody else. That's Terence Ferguson. And there are other guys that tested well, but I don't want to mention every single player in a winner or losers category because no one wants to watch a 5-hour video. 6'5" and change, just under 250 pounds, 4.64, 4.64, very different times there. 40-yard dash now is officially a 4.63, by the way. The tight ends didn't. A lot of the tight ends, didn't test. Warren's coming off the elongated CFP. Look, Holston Loveland is banged up. Elijah Arroyo's banged up. So some of the top guys didn't test. I thought Ferguson helped himself out relative to the others. So I want you guys to name a combine winner from day 2 for me. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Now, Mason Taylor did not test, but I know NFL.com tweeted out, you guys should go peep it. The gauntlet drill is when your job is to run on a straight line down the field, and from one sideline to the other, and catch passes left, catch passes right. Don't slow down, stay in a straight line. You can't find a better one than Mason Taylor. They're out there tracking. I think watching the combine is actually on TV is actually better than in person because you can see the actual metrics and stuff and all the side stuff and the tracing. It's almost a straight line. Taylor is not the most physically gifted tight end, I don't believe, but I think he does a lot of the little things well. And I think the route running, the hands in particular, are fantastic. All right, Jonas Sanker, the Virginia safety, is next up here. As I try to mention some guys that I haven't gotten to yet that are on my list because I will get to them, but guys that, hey, this is kind of one of my first introductions because didn't watch a ton of just like normal Virginia football this year. Official 40 time, by the way, of a 4.48 40-yard dash. Good size at 6'3", 206. You want that height, weight, speed combination, and he had that, by the way, in spades. Now, I am familiar with Caleb Ransaw, the cornerback from Tulane, but we are back. We have never been more back in our lives because I know Caleb Ransaw from College Football 25 because he always hits the transfer portal. He's always highly rated, and I always get him in my dynasties. And he's awesome in the game, and he tested very well today at the NFL Combine. A 4.33 official 40-yard dash. Honestly, his testing was so good, but it kind of got overshadowed by Maxwell Hairston and Darien Porter and even Jahdae Barron. 40-inch vert, 10.09 broad. I value athletic testing. I think it matters. It's not a guarantee you're going to be a good football player just because you're a good athlete, and vice versa. Just because you're a bad athlete, you can still be a good player. But there is correlation there. It's especially true at tight end, and corner is a stopwatch position. Now, 4.4, 4.3, not really that big of a difference. That was impressive. For more NFL draft coverage, we'll have combine coverage for you today and Sunday, or I guess Saturday and Sunday as well. Hit that sub button for me right now. All right, let's go to some losers. Let's begin it. This is almost all tight ends, by the way. And, some guys couldn't test, so it is what it is. Bryson Nesbitt, this is bad. Now, I will make note again, the official times just came out, by the way. 4.88 40-yard dash for Bryson Nesbitt. You can't be 238 pounds and 6'5" and run a 4.89 40-yard dash. 4.88 40-yard dash. I can't have that. That's tall, skinny, and slow. That's a bad combination. So I was profoundly disappointed by Nesbitt's testing and really upset with Gunnar Helms' testing. That is the Texas tight end who I still like a lot. I think his playmaking comes from being smooth and being able to create some separation, but the straight line explosive athlete is simply not here. He cut some weight. I kind of wanted to put some weight back on. 6'5", 241. A 4.84 40-yard dash, and a 30-inch vert. Again, that's just disappointing. I like Gunnar Helm, but that's one I gotta go back and watch now. I'm looking at my notes here initially from Helm. I wrote down I'm not sure he's an elite athlete. I had more of a third-round grade on him, kind of a Jake Ferguson comp. I think that all works because Ferguson did not test like an elite-level athlete either, but this is poor testing. I thought we were going to get like average testing. That's disappointing to me. I want you to name an NFL Combine loser from day 2. Your turn to be, maybe critical is the right word or not, but sound off for me in the comments of today's show. Now, I put Malaki Starks on the winner's side because he did what I thought he was going to do, and I thought that was still good. Harold Fannin Jr. kind of did what I thought he was going to do, and I didn't think that was actually all that great. I still think the Isaiah Likely comp works pretty well. The official 40 time is indeed it's actually a 4.71, so it's a little bit better. He's kind of the guy I thought he was going to be going in, and I was hoping I was going to be impressed. He was going to test super well, and it was going to be like well above average testing. I go, okay, I could lock him in at like tight end 3 or tight end 4 or something, and not feel like is he a little bit lower than that? What is he? He's not very big. That's fine. He added some weight for this. That's essential. 6'3", 241. The 40-yard dash time isn't terrible. But you can't be below average athlete or size and above average athlete. That kind of just doesn't get exactly what I want. I think he can have an Isaiah Likely-esque career. I am simply not as high on him, and I am very curious if he does the agility because I think he's stiff, and I'm a little bit worried about that as well. So I know this is the loser side, and it's going to be negative no matter what. I still think he should go day 2. But the round 1 buzz made zero sense to me. Great production, don't get me wrong, but I got concerns. All right, Zy Alexander, the LSU corner, is next up here. I did want to find one non-tight end because it felt kind of weird, so I had to do it. Look, the good news is there were no 4.6s in the 40-yard dash. I think the guys that were going to approach 4.6 simply did not run. But 4.56 is not great for Alexander. The arm length is 31. That's okay. He's got good size. He's 6'1", a little skinny. It's okay. That's kind of becoming the norm these days. Is a lot of these guys are 6 foot, 6'1", and they're like 190. As long as you're not Emmanuel Forbes skinny, I can live with that there. But the vert and broad were not particularly great. I had questions going in on Alexander of, like, can he hang with top-end speed? And I still have those.